Konakkanchidama Karikalabhakumbhastananata Parikshina Madhye Parinata Sharachandravadana Dhanurbhanan Pasham Srinimapi Dadhana Karatalaihi Purastad Astam Manaha Puramathitaraho Purushika. Happy Navaratri to all of you guys. I'm pretty sure we all are either busy with having Golu, having visitors in our house, or viewing Golu by going to other people's house. In Navaratri, in South India, we have a very unique custom of having Golu in display. This is such one of an example where people keep in olden days dolls made up of clay. Now we have all the plastic dolls, paper mesh dolls, etc. But in olden days, it used to be clay dolls, and it is those dolls people keep it for Golu. And in fact, it teaches us a very important Vedantic concept, and that's what today we are going to see. The topic is Navaratri, Vishwaroopam, and Sri Rudram. For Tamil people, for some of us, they all will remind of a movie. There is a movie called as Navaratri. There is a movie called as Vishwaroopam. There is a movie called as Rudra. We are not going to talk about the movie, but we are going to talk about how these three are related. Navaratri is an Ambal festival. Vishwaroopam, some of you would have a statue of Vishwaroopam in your Golu itself. It is normally associated with Krishna. Even in Bhagavad Gita, there is an adhyayam called as Vishwarupa Adhyayam. And we see in Mahabharata, Bhagavan Krishna showed his Vishwarupa Darshanam to Arjuna. And Sri Rudram, we all know, again, it is present in Yajurveda and it is supposed to be very auspicious for Lord Shiva. But how are these three related? And more importantly, how these three are related to Vedanta is what we are going to see today. And it all is going to start with this Golu here. What are the dolls made up of? I'm just going to talk about 50 years before, where all the toys are made up of clay. So just for simplicity, we assume that all the dolls in this Golu universe, just like how we have Marvel universe, DC Comics universe, etc. Let's assume for now there is a Golu universe, and each and everything in that Golu universe is made up of clay. So clay is a lump of clay, and a sculptor is going to make that clay into a doll. This is what is going to be our premise for this discussion. So what is the relationship between the clay and the doll? Clay is called as the material cause, and the doll can be called as the effect. Cause is called as karanam in Sanskritam. The effect is called as karyam. So clay is the cause or karanam, and the doll is the effect or karyam. And what is the relationship between the clay and the doll? The clay and the doll has got a cause and effect relationship. In technical terms, they have got a karya karana sambandha. Karyam is the effect, karanam is the cause. And if we go deep into that, we see that the clay pervades the doll. The doll is being pervaded by the clay, and more importantly, in fact, the doll is nothing but clay, but with a new name and form. We have to be absolutely clear in this concept, because this is what we are going to refer to later. So karya karana sambandha, and when there is a karya karana sambandha, The karanam, that is the cause, pervades the doll, the karyam. And the karyam, the doll, the effect is nothing but the karanam, clay with a new name and form. So whenever two things has got karya karana sambandha, whenever two objects has got the cause and effect relationship, then the following 3 points will be true. What is the first point? The doll is born out of the clay. It is true. We have absolutely no problem in accepting this. The doll is born out of clay. If there is no doll, if there is no clay, then no doll can be possible. So the doll is born out of the clay. Second point is a bit technical. The doll is supported by the clay. Whenever we say the whole family is supported by this person, what does that mean? If that person is not there, then the whole family cannot function. The whole building is supported by the pillar. What does that mean? If the pillar is destroyed, then the whole building comes down. In the same way, when we say that the doll is supported by the clay, what does that mean? If we remove clay from the doll, then the doll cannot exist. Can we all do an exercise? Can we all imagine a clay doll without a clay? You know, clay doll minus clay is not equal to doll. Clay doll minus clay is shunyam. Clay doll without a clay cannot even exist. So the doll is born out of the clay. The doll is being supported by the clay, and the doll goes back to being clay after it is broken. You know, when all the Navarathri thing is over, and if some person, you know, the kids, when the kids are helping to pack up all the dolls, you know, clay dolls, and you know, unfortunately, if the kid, you know, puts the doll onto the floor, and if the doll breaks, what happens? The doll goes back into being clay. You can basically reuse that clay to make another doll, right? So the relationship between the doll and the clay, all these three things are true. The doll is born out of the clay, the doll is being supported by the clay, and the doll goes back to being clay after it is broken. Now, let us change the terminology. Let us use cause and effect. We are just changing the words. What we can say, all the effect are born out of the cause. Now we are generalizing. The effect is born out of the cause. The effect is being supported by the cause, and the effect goes back to being cause after its demise. Can you give me another example? Yes, a very favorite example for all the women folks out there, because this is Navarathri. Gold and bangle has got cause and effect relationship. Gold and bangle. Gold and golden bangle. Can we apply these three points to gold and bangle? The effect, that is the bangle, is born out of gold, right? Because before being bangle, it was a lump of gold, and the goldsmith has made gold into a bangle. So the first point checks out. And the bangle is supported by gold. Can we imagine a golden bangle without a gold? We cannot even imagine, right? So the bangle is being supported by the gold. And what happens when a bangle is broken? You can easily go to any gold shop, exchange the bangle for the value of the gold. You bought the bangle for the value of the gold. You are exchanging the bangle for the value of the gold. Okay. So the bangle goes back to being gold after its demise. So these 3 points hold true for all the cause and effect relationship. Now let us go to the previous slide. So previously, what did we say? The clay pervades the doll. In fact, the doll is nothing but clay with a new name and form. Can we apply this to gold and bangle? The gold pervades the bangle. True, right? We cannot imagine a bangle without gold. The gold pervades the bangle, and in fact, the bangle is nothing but gold with a new name and form. So, this is also true. And if we want to generalize, we can generalize this as whenever two things have got a cause and effect relationship, the cause will pervade the effect, and in fact, the effect is nothing but the cause with a new name and form. Okay, up to this, I understand, but what I don't understand is why are we saying this? Okay, now it is all going to be clear. Now, let us change the clay and doll to Brahman and Jagat. Jagat means the universe, all the creation. And Shastras say the cause of the Jagat is Brahman. I have put a star near Brahman. It is not a typo. There is a very small technical difference which I'm not going to go over now. So, for all the practical purposes of this session, we can say that the Brahman is the cause of the Jagat. The Brahman is the cause, the origin of the Jagat, meaning the universe. So let us apply. Brahman is the material cause of the Jagat, that is the effect. So Brahman is the Karanam and Jagat is the Karyam. And whenever we say there is a Karya Karana Sambandha between two entities, then what is also true? The cause pervades the effect, and in fact, the effect is nothing but cause with a new name and form. So let us replace the words cause and effect with Brahman and Jagat. What do we get? The Brahman pervades the Jagat. The Brahman pervades the Jagat, and in fact, the Jagat is nothing but Brahman with a new name and form. In Purusha Sukta, Veda says, Sahasra Sirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishtaddhashangulam Purusha Evedagum Sarvam Yadbhutam Yaccha Bhavyam Purusha Eva Idam Sarvam. Whatever that is here is Brahman only. Yat bhutam yaccha bhavyam. Whatever has gone in history was also Brahman. Yatucha bhavyam. Whatever is going to come in future are also different names and forms of Brahman, says Purusha Sukta. In fact, the Vedas, the Taittiriya Upanishad also says, यतो वा इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते येन जातानि जीवन्ति यत्प्रयन्त्यभिसंविशन्ति यतो वा इमानि भूतानि जायन्ते. What is Brahman? The Shishya asked. For that, the Guru answer is, from what the entire universe have come forth. yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, because of which the entire universe exists, meaning because of which the entire universe is supported, and yat prayanti abhisamvishanti, on to which the entire universe merges after pralayam, meaning what? The Jagat goes back to Brahman after its demise, says the Veda. So, the Jagat and the Brahman and the universe has got Karya Karana Sambandha. I hope this is all clear up to now. Now we are going to see a very important point having this in mind. What is in mind? Brahman and Jagat has got Karya Karana Sambandha. So whenever two things have got Karya Karana Sambandha, like a clay and a doll, if some person asks you, where do you see clay in the doll? This question is very tricky. Where do you see clay in the doll? It is like asking, where do you see gold in a golden bangle? What would be the answer? The answer is everywhere, because literally the doll is made up of clay. Literally the golden bangle is made up of gold. Hence, everywhere we see clay in the doll, everywhere in the bangle we see gold. We all would hope that is true whenever we buy an ornament, because we are paying we are paying for the ornament by weight, and we hope that everywhere in the ornament there is gold. We just have to believe the goldsmith, the golden the shopkeeper for that purpose. Coming back, if somebody asks, where do you see clay in the doll? The answer is everywhere. Then I am going to ask you, where do we see Brahman in the universe? It is a very important question. Where do we see clay in the doll? Without even thinking for a second, we say everywhere. Where do we see cause in the effect? Without even thinking for another second, we can say everywhere. But this question, we have to think. Where do we see Brahman in the universe? Even though after listening to all this logic, we want to say everywhere, but we still have some hesitation to say Brahman is everywhere in the universe. And Vedanta is all about teaching you that each and everything around you is Brahman. And I'm again showing this nice Golu picture. And somebody is asking, what do you see here? Do you see clay or do you see dolls? What do we say? We say all these are dolls. But what are dolls basically? The doll is nothing but clay with a new name and form. Because doll is an effect, clay is the cause, and we saw the effect is nothing but the cause with a new name and form. Right? So now another question comes. If somebody gives you a picture of the entire universe and ask the question, what do you see? All these things are universe or Brahman. Now again, our hesitation will come. We want to say everything is Brahman with a new name and form. But we ourselves has a lot of problem in accepting the truth. We know that it is truth because we ourselves have derived it logically just now. But our problem is accepting that truth. So we still have to ask this question. If this is a doll, and this doll and this doll are really nothing but clay, I hope you guys all will agree. This is clay plus a name and form. This is clay plus a transient name and form. And this is clay plus a transient name and form. If we don't have any problem in accepting these three, or just clay with a transient, a temporary name and form, what about these? What about this person here? What about this person here? What about you? What about I? We all are part of this universe. I hope we all agree. And we all agree that the Brahman is the cause of this universe. So, what is the net result? Everybody around us, including you and I, are nothing but Brahman. I'm going to say again, if this doll, this doll, this doll are really nothing but different names and forms of clay, because the clay and doll has got cause and effect relationship. The clay and doll has got karya karana sambandha. Then this person, you and I are really nothing but different names and forms of Brahman, because the universe, the Jagat, which includes all of us, and the Brahman has got the same cause and effect relationship. So if somebody asks you, what is the universe? If somebody asks you, have you seen Brahman? Then what should be our answer? Our answer should be, I see nothing but Brahman. Because whatever we see are part of the universe. And whatever that is in the universe, the cause of the universe is Brahman. So for the answer for the question, have you seen Brahman? The answer should be, I always see Brahman. In fact, I see nothing but Brahman, is what should be the answer for this question. But we really have problem in understanding and to put that into practice. In fact, another name for this Jagat, the universe, is Vishwa. Vishwa is another name for the Jagat. So, what is the real meaning for the word Vishwarupa? Vishwarupa is not this statue, just one Bhagavan Krishna's with so many different face. This is not the real Vishwarupa. The real Vishwarupa is understanding that the entire universe, the entire Vishwa is a Rupa of Brahman. The entire Vishwa, the entire universe is a Rupa, is a form of Brahman, is what the real Vishwarupam is. And during Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna shows his Vishwarupa darshanam to Arjuna. Adi Shankaracharya writes a huge bhashyam, and he says, Dadamite Divya Chakshuhu, says Bhagavan Krishna to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, I am going to give you a divine pair of eyes to see my Vishwarupa. And what really Krishna showed to Arjuna is this fact. He showed that The entire universe is Bhagavan's own form. The entire universe is another form of Bhagavan or Brahman. That is the Vishwarupa that Bhagavan Krishna showed to Arjuna. In fact, that point is very well captured even in the statue. You know, what are the different heads of Bhagavan Krishna here in this Vishwarupa? We see head of Krishna, we see head of Rama, we see head of Shiva, we see Anchaneya, we see Indra, we see Varuna, we see Niruriti, and in fact, the head is infinite. There are so many heads. In fact, what are all those heads? In fact, even our heads will be there in the statue if there were space. But for the want of space, the sculptor has got only this many faces in the statue. So that is the real Vishwarupa. You know, Purusha Sukta says, Sahasra Sirsha Purushaha, Sahasrakshaha, Sahasrapat, says Purusha Sukta. You know, that Purusha, that Virat Swarupam, that in that Vishwarupa has got thousands of heads. Sahasra means Ananta, infinite. It has got infinite number of heads. Sahasrakshaha, infinite number of eyes. Sahasrapat, infinite number of legs and hands, says Purusha Sukta about that Vishwarupam. So that is the real Vishwarupam that we need to understand, and we will understand it by the study of Vedanta. But again, our problem is we can understand all these things intellectually, but it is very hard to put it into practice. I can maybe accept that I am God. I have absolutely no problem in accepting that. But I have a very strong problem in accepting that the opposite person is a God. I have a very strong problem in accepting that my dog, is a God. I have very strong problem in accepting my enemy is also a Brahmaswarupam. In fact, Sri Rudram exactly says that. You know what Sri Rudram says? Namo Jesthaya cha Kanisthaya cha. It says, Namo Jeshtaha. You know, you are in the form of the firstborn. Jeshta Putra means the firstborn, the elder person. Kanishtaya cha, you are in the form of the younger person. Namav Purvajaya cha, you are in the form of all the people that have been born before me. Aparajaya cha, you are in the form of all the people that are born after me. Namastakshadbhyo rathakarebhyascha vo namaha. Takshaha means a carpenter. You are, hey Bhagavan, you are in the form of a carpenter. Rathakaraha, you are in the form of the person who makes ratha, you know, car manufacturer. You are in the form of a carpenter. You are in the form of a car manufacturer. In fact, it even goes on to say, Shwabhya Shwapatibhyascha vo namaha. You are in the form of a dog that is roaming here and there in front of my eyes. Hey Bhagavan, you are in that form also. Shwapatibhyascha, you are in the form of the master of all the dogs. You are in the form of a cow. You are in the form of a donkey. In fact, it even say, Namakupyaya cha, Vatyaya cha, Namo Varshaya cha, Varshaya cha. You are in the form of a pond. You know, in temples we have pond. You are in form of a well from which I draw water. You are in form of the rain, and you are in form of the desert as well. Everything, whatever I see, you are in form of that thing. In fact, Sri Rudram also says, Taskaraya cha, you are in form of that thief who comes and, you know, steals other people's object. In fact, it goes on to say, you are the master thief. In fact, whatever we think are so low, Rudram says, you are in that form. Why? Because it gives us that sarvatra samadharshanaha. It gives us that vision, by which we see everything as one form or the other form of Brahman. And it is exactly for this fact Sri Rudram is also called as Rudropanishad. Upanishad normally is in the Anta part, is in the ending part of Veda. That is why it is called as Vedanta. Upanishads are normally not used in any of the rituals, but even though Sri Rudram is present in the middle part of the Veda, even though Sri Rudram is used in lot of rituals like Abhishekam and Yajnam, Sri Rudram is called as Rudra Upanishad exactly because it shows as the Vishwaroopam darshanam of Brahman. And in fact, all the sannyasis have to leave Gayatri mantra as well. Sannyasis cannot even chant Gayatri mantra, but Shastra says sannyasis should always chant Sri Rudram because they are Brahmajnanis, they are Tattvadarshin, they are supposed to be the knower, the real knower of Brahman. And Sri Rudram says, Sri Rudram basically shows the real form of Brahman. That is why Sri Rudram is held at very high in our Sanatana Dharma. And how does Navarathri Golu comes into picture? What do we do in Navaratri? We have pictures of dogs. We have dolls of dogs in our Golu. We have dolls of farmers in our Golu. We have dolls of students. We have dolls of teachers. We have different sets where we have dolls of common people like you and I in the Golu. And at least for the 9 days, we worship those dolls as an amsham of Ambal. Right? When we do Deeparadhana, we do Deeparadhana to the Golu. When we do Nevedyam of Sundal, we do Nevedyam of Sundal to that Golu. We really consider those dolls as a form of Bhagavan, but we should not stop that in just considering those dolls as Bhagavan for just those 9 days. In fact, we should extend that view to all the beings that are around us. We have to see each and every person that is surrounding us, including ourselves, as a name and form of Brahman and give them their due respect. It is what the Navaratri Golu symbolizes. So, whenever we are seeing the Golu, next time we have to remember all these things in our mind. Golu, Karya Karana Sambandha, and the Karanam pervades everywhere in the Karyam. We have to remember that. And with this, let me finish this topic. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.